Welcome to At Home with Gizzelle. I'm Gizzelle. Love Star Trek? Love learning how to improve your leadership skills? Love content that's created at my house? Check out Starfleet Leadership Academy, a Star Trek podcast told through the lens of leadership development. My husband has created this podcast for the 7 people globally who intersect in the Star Trek fan, leadership, and podcast listener Venn diagram. While we're talking about space, Equinix is hosting a webinar on June 15th with AWS and SpaceX to talk about how SpaceX Starlink is building the most advanced internet broadband system ever, and how you can use it to connect from anywhere to AWS via Equinix. I really hope that this means transporters, replicators, and holodecks are right around the corner. AWS has launched the Summit Online platform, which is a series of free virtual events that have tracks specific to your interests. Sessions are delivered by AWS subject matter experts and customers who have successfully deployed within AWS. Attendees receive a certificate of attendance or the 2020 equivalent of a participation award. It's common knowledge that the best things are accomplished as a team. At Equinix, we're really lucky to have an ecosystem of strong partners that enhance our already incredible offering. For today's interview, I've invited Brian Page, CTO of Xiologix, one of our newest partners, and also somebody that I've known for almost a decade. Brian, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about Xiologix and what sets you apart from others in your space?
Xiologix, one of the things that I love about them is that they are a partner that's always willing to do what's right. No matter what the cost is to themselves, whether it's additional time that needs to be done to create a project and bring it to completion. That's one thing I've always valued a lot about Xiologix is how much they actually care about being a partner as opposed to someone who's just going to sell you a service or a product.
You're fairly new to your role as CTO. Do you have a vision of where you'd like to see your organization go?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially, for someone who's first stepping into a C-level role. One of the things that I identified immediately for Xiologix in our long-term strategy was that we needed to shift away from, just selling point solutions. We needed to slim down on solutions that gave us more value add, such as, the services that we consume from Equinix. Not only do we have data center services, but there's lots of network virtualization, direct access to a lot of the cloud providers and applications that are really important to help meet the needs of our customers without having to have 30 vendors come together to create a solution. And that's why one of the reasons we work with Equinix is because there's so much there.
And like I mentioned earlier, you're a new partner to Equinix. What made you decide to bring on Equinix as part of your portfolio?
Another good question. I think one of the reasons that I really came to Equinix is because I saw all the additional value that Equinix had to offer. It wasn't just like, hey, here's some virtualization services, or hey, here's a place with rack power and cooling. Equinix took the time to figure out all the different components that really come up into today's solutions and make them immediately available, significantly reducing our time for deployments and getting customers online.
What would you say the biggest change to your business has been over the last few months?
Biggest change to my business over the last few months. I found out that I'm an essential worker, so there was no rest for me. Other than that, it's been business as usual for us. We've been extremely busy helping with getting remote access for customers, having the conversations around security. We understand that remote access was really critical for a lot of our customers immediately, but we had to make them step back and say, wait, hold on. Don't just turn the services on. Let's think through and still try to have some strategy and tactics around it. And so that's something I really appreciated about, solutions from Equinix and, being able to come through and say, hey, these solutions are already in place. Just tell me to turn them on. We don't have to worry about security, or we don't have to worry about your PCI compliance. So it was very useful for us.
What is something you want the world to know about Xiologix?
I would say probably the one thing that I really like people to know about Xiologix is the breadth of knowledge that we have. A lot of places have a lot of people that are really okay at a lot of good things, where Xiologix, we have dedicated engineers to very specific practices of IT. I myself am a penetration tester, security, compliance, and IT governance. Another one of my engineers, John Whitford, he focuses primarily on Windows systems administration. That's what he does. He delivers our managed services practice. And then our storage engineers. They focus primarily on a very small subset of storage. And so when people ask us to come implement a solution, or well, design and architect and then implement a solution for them, we're prepared. We come in, we know exactly what the caveats are going to be, and we can help communicate, where those stumbling blocks are going to be.
And Brian, since we've known each other for almost a decade and worked together on and off throughout that period, I have so many stories about fun things that I've done with you, like side ponytail dance parties to Right Round in California. But what is one of your favorite stories and memories about times that we've spent together?
Gizzelle and I were both very avid fans of the animation cartoons from the 80s, like Thundercats, Silverhawks, and this particular night we found that He-Man had been released on Netflix. And so I was over, we were enjoying a bottle of bourbon together, and for some reason, I can't remember what it was, like a problem with a firmware update or something on Gizelle's TV. And so Gizzelle was working for an organization at the time that had an IT department. They were doing managed services, and they were supposed to take care of the internal employees as well. And this particular case, we opened up a ticket and had them work on the firmware update for Gizelle's TV. And unfortunately, that night, we did not get the update done that was necessary. But I think everyone had some good laughs about the request to update the firmware on a TV.
That was an awesome night, Brian. And I am pleased to say that I eventually got my TV up and running. But for those of you that are also He-Man fans, I would definitely recommend checking out the new She-Ra on Netflix. It's pretty awesome. That's it for today's At Home with Gizzelle. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll see you next time.